All right, 23 is a long one. It's a 4-part question. We've got this page and this page right here. So we're going to take our time and tackle it. Let's read the question here. Chad drove 168 miles in 3 hours. So once again, we can predict a rate problem. So we're given a certain amount of miles in a certain amount of hours. And then the part A is how many miles per hour did Chad drive? So when you see the term miles per hour, that's a unit rate. How many miles in 1 hour? So we again need to get to unit rates. And we're hopefully getting pretty quick at that. Let's find our numbers here. 168 miles per 3 hours. So 168 miles per 3 hours. And then we want to turn this 3 hours into 1 hour. So again, we're going to use that supergiant 1 by multiplying by 1/3 to both the top and the bottom. And remember, when you have a 1/3 on top of a 1/3 or anything on top of the same thing, it's just 1. So you're not changing this rate at all. You're just manipulating it so that it's giving you the information for 1 hour. So this 3 times 1/3 equals 3 over 3, which equals 1. And then you have 168 thirds. And again, some of you may be at the point where you see this here and you just realize if you just do the division problem that's written out, 168 divided by 3, it would be the same thing. It just eliminates that denominator and just makes it 1. So you might be at a point where you can skip this step right here and just do the division right here. But for those of you who are not, and there's no reason that you need to be, because the concept is much more important, that what you're doing is turning this into 1. And then we need to do our long division again. So 3 goes into 168. It doesn't go into 1, so we have to go into 6, and it goes in there 5 times. That's 15. That's 1. Then we bring down the 8. 3 goes into that 6 times. And your answer right there, of course, 3 times that is 18. So we're left with the remainder of 0. So that's your answer. Answer is 56 miles per hour. And so that's probably an important piece of information we're going to keep on hand. Chad will drive 672 miles. He continues to drive at the same rate. How many hours will it take Chad to drive 672 miles? So the rate, when they say the same rate, that's that 56 miles per hour. So now he wants to know, if you're going 672 miles at 56 miles per hour, how long is it going to take you? So let's set this up here. First off, let's reason through it. How many times can 56 miles go into, what's our number right here, 672? So we can actually just do a division problem and figure out how many times that goes into. But let's actually take it with a little bit more So part B is now asking, Chad will drive 672 more miles. He continues to drive at the same rate, which is, the rate would be this 56 miles per 1 hour. And then the question becomes, how many hours will it take Chad to drive the 672 miles? So we're going 672 miles at a rate of this 56 miles per 1 hour. So what you want to do is figure out how many 56-mile chunks fit into 672 miles. You know that each one of these 56-mile chunks is going to take 1 hour. So when you figure out how many times you can fit 56 into 672, that's the same number of hours it's going to take, because each 56 miles is 1 hour. So we're just going to split this up into even 56-mile pieces. So let me illustrate that for you. Let's say that this is 672 miles, and this is 0 right here. And let's say that you've got about 56 miles here, and 56 miles here, and you figure out how many 56-mile chunks fit into it. Each one of these is going to be 1 hour right here. So these are your hours, these are your miles. So once you figure out how many pieces you can fit into here, you know how many hours it's going to take. So we do 672 divided by 56. Again, we have to resort to long division. Fortunately, the Parcc test is pretty kind about long division. Even when you're dealing with decimals, it tends to not be that much. So 56 goes into 67 one time, so that's 56. You subtract, and that's going to be 7 minus 6 is 1, and that is 1. And then we bring down the 2, and 56 goes into 112 2 times, and 56 times 2 is 112. Subtract 0, and there's your answer is 12. So yeah, you can expect a nice even number. They're pretty kind about that. So our answer for B is going to be 12 hours, which is a reasonable amount of time to drive that far. So that's a good answer. If you get something like 1 hour or 112 hours, then you've done something wrong. If you accidentally flip this and put the 56 on top and the 672 on the bottom, you're getting a number that's less than 1 hour, and you would not expect to drive 672 miles in less than an hour. Now, part C says Chad stopped and filled his car with 11 gallons of gas. He had driven 308 miles using the previous 11 gallons of gas. How many miles per gallon did Chad's car get? So now they're asking us basically to forget about everything we've done here. This 56 miles per hour, the speed, doesn't really matter. I'm going to move over this way here. Get us a little room over here. That doesn't matter all that much. What matters is this new rate, miles per gallon. First we were going miles per hour, now we're going to go miles per gallon. So, but it's the same problem really. He had driven 308 miles per 11 gallons of gas. How many miles per gallon did he get? So again, a unit rate. Our gallon is now going to be our unit. So we want to know how many miles in 1 gallon. So it's 308. Sorry, my memory is off today. 308 by 11. 308 miles per 11 gallons. And again, we need to turn this into 1 gallon. So we just, and this is something that we did on our test. You multiply it by the reciprocal, and you're going to get, this is going to be 11 over 11, so it's going to be 1 gallon. And this is going to be 308 over 11 miles. And again, some of you are recognizing that this division problem is all you need to do. But don't fret if you don't. You can still do the supergiant one and get there. 11 will go into 308. 11 goes into 32 times. That's 22. We subtract, we get 8. We bring down the 8. It's 88. That's 8 times, and your answer is 28 miles per gallon. All right, I'm moving fast on the long division. I hope that's okay. Feel free, of course, to rewind. Finally, part D, Chad's car continues to get the same number of miles per gallon, which we know now is 28 miles per gallon. How many gallons of gas will Chad's car use to travel 672 miles? So we know how many miles there are. We know how many miles he gets in a gallon. So it's the same idea. They're really having you do the same thing that you did last time, but instead of miles per hour, you're doing miles per gallon. So we have 672 miles, just like we had over here. But instead of dividing it into 56-mile chunks, which was our unit rate, you're now going to do dividing it into 28-mile chunks, and each 28-mile chunk is going to be 1 gallon. So we need to divide 672 by 28. 28 divided by 672. See, 28 goes into 672. It's going to go in there twice, which will give you 56. You're going to subtract, and again, you're going to get 11. You're going to get 12. That looks really familiar. Oh, well, sorry, it's twice there. 28 times, so then 28 is going to go into 112. We're going to say 5 times, I believe. No, I think it's only going to be 4 times. 4 times 20 is 80, and 8 times 4 is 32. So you're going to have 100. Look at that, 112. You're going to get 0. So that should be, that's not very clear. That's 24. And let's try to remember what we were asking. It's going to be, how many gallons of gas does Chad's car use to drive 672 miles? 24. That's a reasonable answer, because 672 is, a little more than double 308, and 24 miles is a little more than double 11. So we're in good shape. So the only thing I can warn you about this question is be very careful with each step, because if you got this one wrong, you're going to get this one wrong. If you get this one wrong, you're going to get this one wrong. So you have to be really careful and move forward slowly with these multi-part questions.